and welcome to Scorched Earth and a general reading for the sign of Aquarius, Sun, Moon or Ascendant for the month of April. I hope you will. Using the crow tarot for you today. It really does like you as a sign. What do I have to tell you? The 6-month overview that I did for each of the signs, I've reduced it down to less than half price. It's just a few quid now. Because we're halfway through that period and I actually just want people to see them, you know, it's not really about the money at this point. So if you're interested in that, there's a link down in the description box. You can just follow that and it will take you to Vimeo. And there will be an extended at the end of this reading if it resonates with you. So let's have a look and see what's going on with you, Aquarius. Can I have 3 cards for Aquarius, please? Oh, there's the first one. We have the King of Cups. That's Scorpio energy. We have the 4 of Swords in your current energy. That's interesting. And then what's coming towards Aquarius in April, please? We have the Justice card. That's rather grand right there. We have the Emperor at the bottom of the deck. That's Aries energy. Followed by the Hermit, which is quite interesting because it fits very well with what I see going on here. I'll come to that in a bit. We'll get some clarifiers out on the table first. We'll go with the Wild Unknown to clarify. I was going to say qualify. Qualify. Doesn't really matter, does it? So, tell me about this King of Cups, please. I'm taking dropped cards. Tell me about the King of Cups, please. Thank you. First card is the 2 of Pentacles. We've got the Strength card. It's just balancing on my thumb there, but it hasn't jumped, so we're going to put it back in. That's a card of Leo. It feels like you've been tested a little of late, Aquarius. That's how it's feeling to me. Tell me about this 4 of Swords. Thank you. 10 of Wands. And the 4 of Swords, whatever that was, which was the Sun, another card of Leo. Tell me about Justice, please. We have the Lovers, and we have 2 here. Let's have a look. We've got the 8 of Pentacles and we've got the Emperor, matching up what we had down there on the in the shadow cards at the bottom of the deck. There they all are. At the bottom of this one we have Death. I like this, but I like the tone of this entire reading for you. Got Judgment behind that too. And I should tell you for why. It feels to me a little bit like you've been having a rough time of late, right? There are various cards that lead me to that, but I was also getting a feeling of that almost immediately. The King of Cups here, in your recent past, right? It's a card of Scorpio. It talks about emotional maturation, right? But more than that, I think it's you settling into how you really feel about something, right? It's having a very mature response to a situation that has been very hard. And at this point, I'm not sure if that's just a difficult time generally or whether this has been at the hands of somebody else. It's hard to tell. But at this point, you have truly sifted through your feelings and you really do know where you stand about something. And this is quite important. You know how you feel about it. You know, you might not quite yet know how you wish to proceed, but it's coming, right? The groundwork has been done. The initial base layer has been established, and it's clarified by the 2 of Pentacles and the Hanged Man. And I think that this is quite an intriguing combination too, because this talks about your internal stability, right? Your emotional internal stability, for sure. But this Hanged Man suggests to me that there has been there's been a change of perspective in the way that you see something. Now, it also speaks to a lack of movement. And I think this is quite important because I think that you have held back from making a major decision about something because you weren't quite sure how you felt about it. And it's possible that you hadn't really given yourself enough time to really consider all the consequences of one action over another, right? It could be something like that. Or it could just be that you know, the way forward is very clear, but there was something of resistance about the way that you were wanting to to show up in the world from this point on. There was something kind of holding you back from it a little bit. Let's pull some more clarifiers for that, just because I'm extremely nosy and yeah, curiosity killed the cat and all that. Let's have a look. Tell me about this Hanged Man. Wow, that one jumped out. What do we have here? We have the Nine of Swords. Oh, I'm not joking. Things have been rough for you recently. Like, I feel like that. Tell me about this Hanged Man. We have the King of Swords. Yeah, you have been in a difficult place. The thing with the Nine of Swords is, though, it's not always necessarily that based in reality, right? So it might be that things have gone to shit a little bit, but there is, you know, somewhat of a silver lining, and maybe you just haven't allowed yourself to look at it for a little bit, right? Maybe it felt like it was an idle platitude or something like that, right? Or maybe you've just had anxiety about something. Whatever it is, things have been a little bit rough inside the Aquarian head for a while, but a new perspective has been reached, and with that has come a level of internal stability and, like I said, this kind of leveling up in the way that you feel about moving forwards with something, right? So we come to your current energy and we've got the Four of Swords. Now this to me speaks about withdrawal, right? In amongst other things, it feels to me like you have withdrawn to a degree from something. Now this might have its expression in a full physical withdrawal. Perhaps you have, you know, pulled away from friends and family and stuff like that, been spending a lot of time on your own, really thinking about things. But it could be more subtle and more nuanced than that. It could be that you are very much, you know, where you have always been, but there has been some part of you that has taken a step back while you have been contemplating something, because things have been really, really hard. And because you're Aquarius, I don't believe that you've shared this with a great number of people. Like, this is something that has been very, very private to you. And, you know, those astute among, you know, in your environment, your immediate environment, might have twigged that there was something just a little bit amiss with you. But I don't really get the feeling that you've shared it or expressed it all that much, and neither do you intend to until you know exactly how you feel about something. Now you are definitely getting there. You've got that internal stability. But I'm going to pull in these two clarifiers here, because we've got the Hermit and we've got the Emperor here. I noticed that they're both looking at each other at the moment. I think that you now know where you stand with something. I think that you know how you feel about it. I think where you're at in terms of action at the moment is working out how you are going to move forward from this point, because the Emperor is all about taking control, right? It's about planning, it's about strategy. And it feels like that's where you're at the moment. It's the planning, it's the strategizing, it's the how do I move forwards, how do I make this work, whatever this is. And you know, this could be a relationship, this could be a business decision, it could be, you know, anything to do with work. It really will affect all of you differently. But the important thing is that you achieved by yourself the ability to be able to look at the situation slightly differently, stabilize yourself, and now you are deciding how it is that you move forwards, right? How it is that you action on what's coming in. And there's an increasing sense of almost of confidence in the decision that you've made for yourself, and I like that very much. The two clarifiers that came out for the Four of Swords were the Ten of Wands and the Sun, and that's quite interesting in and of itself, because they're two very opposite energies. This is the card of Leo, but it talks about joy, you know, complete unalloyed joy. And here we have a card of burden. Now, it's possible that the scales have been out of balance for you for a little while, right? Been a little bit too much of this and not nearly enough of this. But change is coming, and you can smell it in the air, Aquarius. You know it's on its way. It could be that you're getting a second chance at something. That's possible with the Judgment card here. But I just get an overwhelming sense of release coming. And you know it's on its way. And with the release comes an absolute transformation of your circumstances in whatever way that might apply. Now, I feel like the Four of Swords that you're sitting in here sits very neatly between these two cards, right? How do we process to get from one to the other. That's where you're contemplating at the moment. That's where you're withdrawn. That's where you're, that's the issue that you're meditating on at the moment. And it feels actually like there is something that you're trying to find a way to cut out of your life. Now, that might be something as abstract as just a particular set of thought patterns that you have, that you've recognized and now you want to move away from, because they can be very damaging. Or it could be an actual situation, it could be an actual person. What it is, though, is an understanding that you've been spread a little thin, I think. Oh, that's 10 of Wands. Thank you. Death card. Yeah, it has to change. It can't carry on the way that it has been. I've got the Devil at the bottom of the deck. And I feel like, to some degree, you felt a little bit trapped by something. Maybe afraid of making these changes. That's possible, but no, there's less light. That's 10 of Wands. Oh, what do we have here? The Justice card again. Yeah, everything's all out of whack. Right? It seems almost like the pendulum swung from one end to the other, and you actually want to occupy the middle ground. Life's always going to be challenging. There's no question of that. And if it isn't, then in all likelihood you're living in a box somewhere. That probably would be challenging in and of itself. But on the other end of the spectrum, we have that complete joy, right? Complete childlike glee about something. You want more of this in your life and a little less of this. So you've got to find a way to make everything kind of balance a little bit. It's not letting the challenging stuff knock the joy that you feel, and also not letting the joy that you feel stop you from being responsible for the things that you need to do, But we've got the Death card and the Justice card there. Like, things have to change. Things have to balance out because they're all over the fucking shop at the moment, or at least they have been. And this work that you've been doing internally here is putting you in the right mindset to be able to deal with whatever this is over here, whatever it is that's been stretching you too thin or causing you to be burdened. It's about time. That's the feeling that I have of you. It's about fucking time that this changes now, because I can't keep doing this the way that I am doing it. Well, we go from this Justice card here, segueing beautifully into this Justice card here, which is the card of Libra, but it's what's coming in for you in the month of April. And this equilibrium, this balance that you have been looking for, it's coming towards you. It's quite possible that there is an element of karma at play here, by which I mean sort of the consequences of one, decision over another. But I feel like this is something that you're quite willing to bear, because you need to take control. You know that you've needed to take control for a very long time. And here you are in the month of April doing that. We have the Lovers card, we have the Eight of Pentacles, and we have the Emperor underneath. The Lovers card is it can be about union, absolutely, but it's a card of stepping up. It's conscious co-creation, right? It's working with the energy rather than against it. And it's coming into alignment with something. It might well be work related, because we do have the Eight of Pentacles here. But even if it isn't, it is something that you are willing to work with, right? There's a certain amount of commitment implied by the Eight of Pentacles. No small amount of skill either, I have to say. And it's interesting because as I'm looking at these cards here on the table, we have the Sun. If you put it next to the Eight of Pentacles there, and you see the similarities in the way that the Sun is structured, and also in the way that this web is structured. Now, there are tiny little adjustments to this all over, right? The spider's worked really, really hard. But fundamentally, before it starts doing those little cross webs, that's the shape that it starts up with, right? It feels to me like you are able to pick your point of joy, right? There's the thing that I really, really love. There's what I want to fill my life with even more of. And then make these little micro adjustments. Really work hard at this to create something that is more structured, right? Look at the difference between this and this, right? One of those is messy and dark and not actually even slightly efficient. This is what you're going for. And it's all about coming into alignment with something. And it's whatever it is that you're planning, whatever it is that you're working on at the moment, it's you know, the Emperor card was one that underpinned the entire reading, and here it is again right at the end. Like, whatever it is that you're working towards, and it is that balance, it is that justice, perhaps it is an element of working through something karmic and coming out the other end. Tell me about this Emperor card, please. Whoa, shit. We have the Ten of Wands, we have the Queen of Cups, and we have the Moon. Yeah. It's absolutely working on. Oh, we also have the Knight of Pentacles here. It's about taking the really important things from the energy that you're in at the moment, right? I do the mid-month readings, I call them looking for the lesson, because that's literally what we do. We sit there and we look at the energy that you're in, and I'm like, why the fuck is this energy here? What is it trying to teach you? There's a teaching element to this here, not least because we've got the Wheel of Fortune at the bottom of the deck, followed by the Lovers, followed by the Chariot, followed by the Emperor, right? You're really about to start getting on top of your shit properly, Aquarius. And it's because you started from the ground up, or, you know, from the inside out, possibly. Where things have been hard and burdensome, and we have that Ten of Wands twice. See you opening up to the possibility of new things coming in, for sure. But it's like you've extricated it's like you've extricated the value from the burdensome situation that you found yourself in, and rather than letting it crush you, you're actually turning it around and using it as a way to improve your life, which ultimately, like, is exactly what you're supposed to be doing. It looks like it's going to be a really, really good month for you, Aquarius. Like, and see how much you've been desperate for this equilibrium, and here it is. The whole month is filled with it. I love it for you. Right, this is what I have for you. If this has resonated with you and you want to go a bit deeper, I'm going over to Vimeo now, and we'll kind of pull this apart a little bit and see what else is going on here under the surface. If not, no shade, no problem. I will see you next time. But know that I love you all very, very much, and I will see you soon. Ho hum. When the clicker do work.